As the parliamentary and provincial elections slated for this Sunday draws to its culmination, the country has entered the silence period from today. With political parties and candidates barred from any promotional activities in this 48-hour period, they were in their last-ditch effort to persuade the voters yesterday. Meanwhile, 2 days prior to the voting day, poll experts are yet to predict any swing votes this time around. Good morning, I'm Abheudaya Shrestha, and these are the headlines of the hour. The silence period for the Sunday elections begins. All border transits closed. Election Commission claims vote counting of the direct category will conclude in 3 days. The Hulaki Highway, an election issue since the Panchayat era, still remains incomplete. Not even 75% work completed, and only 2 years for the project remain. U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who has led Democrats in the House of Representatives for almost 2 decades, announces she's stepping down from the role. And Team Nepal playing against the United Arab Emirates in the final match of the 3-match bilateral series, which is tied at 1-1. Nepal fielding first after winning the toss. The silence period for this Sunday's parliamentary and provincial elections has begun from today. Political parties and candidates who had been busy in their promotional campaigns are now prohibited from conducting any election-related activities during the silence period. All promotional campaigns to convince voters have been prohibited during the 48-hour period before the elections day. Political parties and candidates had been conducting door-to-door campaigns in the past month and a half. This was followed by election assemblies and rallies from 3rd of November. However, they will not be allowed to engage in promotion and conducting events to win the confidence of the voters during the silence period. Based on the Election Code of Conduct, the silence period also applies to all social media activities. In our Public Voice segment, we had asked people in several provinces regarding the public awareness on possible violations of the Election Code of Conduct during the silence period. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
मौन अवधिको समयमा चाहिँ म सामाजिक सञ्जालबाट कुनै पनि पार्टीको लागि भोट माग्ने छैन।
पैसा दियो भन्दैमा उसले मत दिनुपर्छ भन्ने होइन।
लोभलाभमा फस्नु भएन। आफ्नो विचारलाई चाहिँ पैसामा किनबेच गर्नु हुँदैन।
पैसामा हामी जान्दैन।
म सजग छु। म यस्तो मान्छेको चुनाव गर्छु जुन पढे लेखेको छ, जसको सोच राम्रो छ।
The Election Commission has said that vote counting of the direct category will conclude in 3 days after voting is complete. Speaking at a press meet yesterday, Chief Election Officer Dinesh Kumar Thapalya said that vote counting will begin instantly after voting is concluded on 20th of November itself, and counting of the direct category votes will conclude in 3 days. Thapalya informed about the Commission's plan to complete vote counting of the direct category before 23rd of November and another 5 days to draw the final results of the proportionate category. He further added that all the reports will be presented to the President on 8th of December. The Election Commission has warned of imposing a fine of 25,000 rupees to political parties and election candidates if they are found to violate the silence period. The Election Commission has warned candidates to refrain from untoward activities such as booth capture. All border transits with neighboring countries have been sealed from today for the November 20 elections. Meanwhile, Nepali nationals employed in India have returned home to exercise their franchise in the provincial and parliamentary elections. All border points with southern neighbors India have been sealed from today for the November 20 provincial and parliamentary elections and will remain closed for a 72-hour period. Nepali nationals returning from India have expressed their grievances regarding lack of basic facilities back home. Returning to vote with great enthusiasm and expectations from the candidates, they have urged the candidates to prioritize creation of employment opportunities and access to basic services such as health, education, and roads, among others. Meanwhile, homebound students have said that they will not be voting for past candidates and winners and will assess the background and capabilities of the candidates before they make a decision. The issue of Hulaki Highway has been one of the major issues in this coming elections in the Tarai Madhesh region, as it had been during the Panchayat era 46 years ago. Almost 5 decades later, the candidates are still pursuing the voters with the same assurance of the completion of the highway. Not even 75% work of the highway, however, has been complete, and the project is supposed to end in the next 2 years. More than 20 districts of the Tarai Madhesh region connects with the Hulaki Highway. The Hulaki Road was built during the Rana regime. In the fiscal year 2004-2005, work had begun to upgrade it to a highway. The highway was planned to be completed in the fiscal year 2017-18 with a total budget of 47 billion rupees. However, with the extension of construction time, the budget is expected to increase to 56 billion rupees. When the election candidates were campaigning for this election, the villagers of Kodayana, Sarlahi started a protest for the completion of the Hulaki Highway. They complained about the previous election winners who did not do their work as promised. As of now, a 100-kilometer stretch in Chitwan and Dang and another 90-kilometer stretch in Kapilbastu, Dang and Banke have not been contracted. Many sections of the highway in eastern Madhesh have not been maintained and are in a dilapidated condition. The road section, constructed at a budget of 244.2 million rupees, also incorporates a bridge on the Kamala River, which collapsed 17 months ago. Only 75% work of 975 kilometers of the main Hulaki Road and the 825-kilometer stretch that connects to the east-west Mahendra Highway have been completed as of now. The highway also has 250 bridges, and only 65% of that work has been completed. Only 2 years remain for the project to be completed. Many road sections and bridges are either in incomplete or in neglected states. But whenever the election draws close, the candidates' assurances start all over again. It was the National Tax Day yesterday. It may be recalled that in the year 2054 of the Nepali calendar, the government had scrapped sales tax, air transportation tax, among others, introducing modern tax system. The government implemented inflation tax in the form of combined tax. However, the government has been collecting revenue under 24 headings. However, the government has failed to provide services in line with the tax collection to the general public. The country requires revenue for development, set up state policy, ensure provision of social security for citizens, and maintain national security, among others. All these works are done with the revenue collected by the government in the form of taxes. The government, in return, has failed to provide services to the general public. It is the government's responsibility to ensure proper utilization of the revenue collected. However, the general public has been considering tax as a burden amid government's growing exploitation of funds. People have been paying taxes under 6 categories to the federal government, 5 to the provincial, and 8 to the local level. At the same time, the government charges levy for road maintenance and under the headings Environment and Infrastructure under Financial Act. Cases of tax evasion have increased as the government has been increasing tax rates instead of tax limit. Nepal, incidentally, has the highest tax burden in South Asia. The government imposes up to 36% income tax, while the state has failed to make use of the collected revenue accordingly. It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Here's the question. What's your take on the state's failure to provide facilities to the general public in terms of the taxes it collects? Your options are A, ignoring public expectations, B, due to lack of accountability, and C, lack of resources. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001.
Sports News.
Hosts Nepal are currently clashing against the United Arab Emirates in the third and final match of the 3-match one-day international bilateral series. The series remains tied at 1-1, which means today's result will decide the series winner. In the match that started at 9 this morning at the Tribhuvan University Cricket Ground in Kantipur, Nepal won the toss and elected to field first. According to a recent update, Nepal has made 16 runs at the loss of 3 wickets after the completion of 3 overs. Nepal made a comeback with a 3-wicket win in the second match following their thrashing in the first match. Nepal chased a target of 192 runs, losing 7 wickets with 13 balls to spare in the second ODI. Prior to this, UAE had secured an 84-run win over the hosts in the series opener. The series is being played as a preparation for the World Cricket League 2 tournament. Outstanding performers of the series, including those from the recently concluded Prime Minister's Cup one-day national tournament, are to be called for the closed camp for December's triangular series involving Scotland and Namibia. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.